Forecast for free with the WRAL weather app. You get alerts on today's potential severe weather right to your phone. Okay, let's take a live look right now inside the North Carolina legislative building. Any moment now, a vote will begin on whether to override the governor's veto of the abortion restrictions bill.
And we have team coverage inside and outside the state legislative building. Leaders in the Republican-controlled legislature believe they do have the votes. Let's send it now to WRAL's Chelsea Donovan first to hear from protesters outside the building. Chelsea?
Yeah, about 100 protesters are gathered here on the lawn outside of the legislative building for what they call a We Are the Supermajority rally. Let's take a look here behind me. You can see many folks still in attendance here, part of the LGBTQ community, and immigrants who say they are far outnumbering the 102 Republican legislatures inside. Now, this rally is taking place in advance of an expected override of Governor Cooper's veto of a 12-week ban on abortion. Members here tell me they are displeased with the legislature's approval of bills designed to intimidate women, transgender people, and immigrants. For the past hour, we've heard speeches from teachers and drag performers, Latino immigrants without legal status, and women who obviously are in opposition of the proposed abortion ban. Those in attendance feel all of this limit on abortion rights are designed to evoke fear and give those in these communities less freedoms.
It's important to work hard to get the right people in there, and it's also important to remember that regardless of what bills they pass, we're going to do what we have to do to take care of each other, to make sure that we have access to the right health care, and to make sure that our people have what they need to have a happy life here in North Carolina.
Now, these protesters say they're going to be out here all evening until this vote happens. If this veto override passes, we should mention it will take our state's current ban on abortions after 20 weeks with exceptions for medical emergencies and moves that to the 12-week mark. Back to you.
Chelsea Donovan reporting live for us in Raleigh. Thank you.
So there are some tensions growing outside the legislative building. Crowds gathering inside that building as well. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie live outside the Senate chambers in there where people on both sides have been lining up for hours to get a seat. Laura.
Here, let me show you what it's like up here right now. It is not the most crowded I've ever seen it, but it's getting pretty close. We can see, you know, the Senate gallery is completely standing room only. All these people showed up to try to get into the Senate gallery and were turned away for lack of room. People are still being turned away as they come up the stairs as well. This was the scene earlier this afternoon. If we can roll that video, dozens of people lined up waiting for hours to get those precious few seats in the Senate gallery. Many of those folks are supporters of the bill, as you can see, but there are opponents in the mix as well.
So, Laura, this bill has been moving pretty quickly. Can you give us a quick summary, though, of exactly what it would do? Remind us of that and why Governor Cooper vetoed it on Saturday.
Right. So it's a pretty complex bill, but in a nutshell, it would ban elective abortion in North Carolina after 12 weeks with some exceptions for rape, incest, the life of the mother, or a life-limiting fetal anomaly. It also will put new restrictions on abortion clinics. The state will regulate them more tightly, and it will also require women to make more trips to an abortion clinic in order to get an abortion. The Senator Cooper said that this will effectively make it very difficult for women to get abortions even in the first 12 weeks, and that is why he vetoed the bill on Saturday.
Now, the legislature has a Republican supermajority, and you expect them to override any veto that comes today, correct?
That's what they say. You know, they're telling us that they believe they have the votes, and they do by the numbers. 30 votes in the Senate and 72 votes in the House is what is called for, 3/5 of members present and voting. So we're still waiting on a few senators to show up, but we believe that it will be a full House today, and we expect that will go through probably pretty quickly.
And if it does, if the override happens, if it's passed into law tonight, when would this new law take effect? When would abortion restrictions actually change here in North Carolina?
Right. So once it goes through the Senate, they have to override the veto in the House as well. That's supposed to happen tonight, starting at 8 o'clock. If that happens and it becomes law, then at that point, the abortion restrictions would take effect on July 1st of 2023, so about 6 weeks from now. And then some of the other changes would take place probably in October.
Okay. Okay, as we see on the left side of the screen, Phil Berger sitting at the podium. Laura Leslie reporting live, keeping us updated on all the happenings inside the legislative building. WRAL, again, as you can tell, has the cameras inside and outside of the legislative building. You can watch the debate underway right now on WRAL.com and stay with WRAL News for breaking updates from the Senate floor.
Also happening now, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and top congressional leaders are meeting at the White House right now to try to strike a deal to raise the national debt ceiling. The U.S. could default on its debt as early as June 1st if leaders don't reach a deal 16 days away, and that would impact all of us. It could mean delays on Social Security payments, tax refunds, military paychecks as well. Economists also say it could immediately force a recession. Right now, the president and Republicans are negotiating about which spending cuts could be acceptable to both sides. And new this hour, NBC News is now reporting that President Biden plans to cut his overseas trip short in order to continue negotiations because this is just so important. Police tell us a 4-year-old boy drowned at a Raleigh apartment complex this morning.